Ready to go! Yes, that's a man!
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another YouTube video. We are getting really close to the big match between Levan Saginashvili of Georgia up against USA's Dave Chafee. It's the biggest match of the year. I think it is. I think it's bigger than Devin Larratt against Michael Todd, for the simple reason that Levan has more of a legitimate claim to being the guy worldwide. And I wanted to look a little bit today at his recent performances and just kind of unpack what it is that makes Levan the monster that he is. What is Levan unbeatable? It's been a long time. It's been a really long time. And I wanted to look at what it is about his characteristics, his physical traits, strengths, the way he moves. What is it about him that makes him so unbeatable? Anyway, we're going to look at his last match at the top 8 of 2019 against Vitaly Laletin. And I'm just going to kind of, as we watch it, I'm just going to kind of tell you guys a story about what I know about Levan. I've had the opportunity to meet Levan. I get to speak to him fairly regularly. I just want to share some stories about him and my insights as to what makes Levan Levan. And we're going to watch, as we do this, we're going to watch from Alex Toproll's Arm Wrestling TV. You're the man, Alex Toproll. Thank you for the footage. And let's get that on the way, see if I can bring that up. Alright, so here we are, we're in Poland. I think you can actually see me yet. Vitaly has just walked past me. So I was there, which made it really cool to get to witness this top 8 final between Vitaly Laletin and Levan Saginashvili. It was pretty special, to be honest. Big moment for the sport, the rise of Levan Saginashvili. He was the favorite going in. Vitaly Laletin was the man that was potentially going to dethrone him. I think the betting was pretty even, somewhat, but slightly towards Levan. One thing about Levan was I got to meet Levan in the airport prior to this tournament, and he seemed like this big, soft, nice teddy bear, to be honest. And then when Levan walks out at this event, oh my goodness, totally different dude. Shoulders wide, chest big. You can see him coming out now. He was breathing through his nostrils hard. He meant business, and you could see him come to life as opposed to the teddy bear version that I'd seen in the airport, which was just insane to see those contrasting differences. He physically appeared 10 to 20% bigger at this moment right here than he did when I was hanging out with him at the airport in Germany, only a couple days prior. So this match, I wanted to look at this match to look at the style, the strengths that Levan is bringing to the table these days in the arm wrestling world. He really does have a unique set of tools. His hand and wrist is significantly larger than anyone else within the realm of professional arm wrestling. I think it's a 10.5-inch wrist or something crazy. Like, I have a decent sized wrist, and mine is 8.5, and I think my wrist is big. Vitaly Laletin, his opponent, to give you some perspective, is super tall. He's one of those guys, 6'7", 6'8", I don't know, really tall. Levan, I think, around 6'2", but you can see the depth of Levan's chest, and if you were to measure around his chest and shoulders, it's just, I don't think there's anyone that comes close. Quite an explosive guy. You can see the width of him there as he faced the camera. He's from shoulder to shoulder is just phenomenal. Now, looking at the way he trusts his hand is a really interesting thing. He's unafraid of Vitaly Laletin. Sorry, he's unafraid of Vitaly's tall posting arm. He's not worried that Vitaly's going to be able to drop his wrist and low hand top rolling. That straight away shows how much trust he has in his own wrist flexion, his own fingers, and his own back pressure. It's really something rare to have. To put that in perspective, how strong Vitaly Laletin is ridiculous. But you can see it was the back pressure and pronation of Levan that protected him against the threat of the low hand top roll from Vitaly. And you can see that, again, that energy from Levan was big on this night. He knew what he was there to do, and there was no one that was going to stop him in the room. It didn't matter. So Yeah, it's Denis Saplenkov there in the corner of Vitaly Laletin. Interesting corner man to have, no doubt. But again, in the straps now, when Vitaly Laletin is setting with back pressure, he's loaded with his pronation. He's got everything he needs as a low hand top roller, and yet the hand and integrity of Levan. Watch what happens after the go here. It's pretty phenomenal. The strength he's got. He just clamps with his hand. He is prepared to move defensively with his shoulder and his body position to protect his wrist. We can see the energy there as he cracks back the wrist of Vitaly Laletin. It just awakens that monster in him. That even though the elbow foul happened from Vitaly, Levan was like, no. You just felt it. It is done. There's nothing you're going to be able to do. It's over. Right now, in Levan's mind, it's over. We haven't even got a round on the board yet he sees it as over because he's felt it. That was the best Vitaly had, and Levan just stopped it. So it's the fingers and the back pressure are two really unique sets of tools that when combined, and we know Levan's back pressure is huge. We've seen it pulling like 80 kilos on cables. But when those two things combine, it really does dismantle a low-hand top roller's wrist. A low-hand top roller is so dependent on keeping their pronation and keeping their fingers secure. But the back pressure wrist flexion from someone like Levan changes that. And you'll see that here in this round as it starts. The wrist of Vitaly Laletin is gone. It's back. The finger clamping, the back pressure from Levan is the real key to keeping that control. And there you go. There you have that victory. So Levan really just impressive in that finger sense and back pressure. Now, there's a couple of things that I wanted to show you guys about Levan. If we just look at Levan sitting on the couch here. Let's have a look. Levan sitting on the couch. This is when he was commentating the Devin Larratt and Michael Todd match. You can see him watching it there. But he's actually even got a bit of a giant pumpkin thing going on. It appears that his right arm is more solid, more depth. But look at the mass on his forearms and hands and wrists and shoulders and pecs. The guy's a really big human. I mean, if we haven't figured that out yet, he's really big. And what that really big factor does, and we'll end it there, thank you, Levan. What that really big factor does... let me just get that. Yep. It amplifies all of his strengths. To be strong is one thing. To have good back pressure, wrist flexion, supination, control, pronation, all those things, they mean something. But when you add size to that, you have to start to consider what it's like for your opponent. Because arm wrestling is a two-faceted consideration. It's not just how strong am I. It's how strong can my opponent be when facing me. Now, somebody who has a small wrist and a small hand is easy to hold on to relative to someone who has a giant wrist and a giant hand where you can't get control. So Levan brings power and he brings a width of bones and fingers and size that really dismantles his opponents. So what that leaves his opponents is very few options technically, because holding on to Levan straight away becomes a very bad idea. So you're left with a window of, well, okay, all I can do is make that fist and pull against the strap and hope that I'm strong enough in that respect. Very difficult to dictate terms for someone like Levan. Very difficult to force him into a lane of your technical choosing because of that combination of size and strength. It's really interesting. I don't know. Where will Levan end up? His legacy is already pretty big. He's already reached what looks to be the pinnacle. He's looking to confirm that and solidify that. His match with Dave Chafee's coming up, obviously. If he does that dominantly, that's one big step towards it. He wants to beat Devin, all those sorts of people. Feathers in his cap to becoming, I think what he's aiming for is just to be considered the best of all time, with the highest peak of all time. Anyway, I think that's some of the characteristics that for me stand out that make Levan the monster that he is. And like I said, I think there's more to come. I don't think he's done yet. I think he's got maybe 3 to 4, 5 more years of climbing in his size and strength before he probably says that's enough. How high will he go? Will there be anyone that can challenge him legitimately? I don't know. We will see. Unless that 320, 350 pound Devin Larratt turns up, there might not be anyone. But anyway, let me know, guys, what do you think about what we've looked at here? What makes Levan, for you, the strongest guy in arm wrestling? Do you agree with everything I've mentioned? Let me know your thoughts. Leave us a comment and a like, and hit the share, all that sort of good stuff, and subscribe if you're really keen. But anyway, guys, hope you're well and enjoyed that one, and I'll see you next time.
Yes, that's a bet!